think. Okay. Hello, everybody. So, we're back with Lorne Radio, which used to be done. I think there's been like 4, 5 in the past. Everybody. So, and now we're sort of it's returning, and with me is someone who's been on virtually every stream I've done recently. It's Mr. Shin's Koala. Hello, sir.
Hey, why am I hearing a reverb? Hold on 1 sec. I got it. I think I know what it is.
Yeah. I probably should have done a disclaimer and said there is going to be some technical issues here, guys.
Gotcha. Okay, I don't need to. The only thing is I won't be able to look at the.
You can get it on your phone.
Live chat. Okay. Oh yes. Hello, everybody. Okay.
Only took you what 70 seconds to say hello, but we got there. And Tiffany's here as well.
I am.
Hello.
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 And our first guest is Mr. TCAP Recipes.
Why don't you have a seat? Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Hey, TCAP.
Hey, what's going on?
So, we've not spoke before, Mr. Recipes. So why don't you? What I wanted to do is just get people's sort of. What we do is just talk about people's involvement and how they got into all this lark. Because we've all got the good thing about this is we've all got this bizarre fascination or fixation, however you want to put it. How did you get into the Lorne thing and start making videos yourself?
For me, it was a couple years ago. It was 2017. It was in the summer. I ran to Mr. Gigi's channel, and I saw the Predator Chronicles. I got into that, and I discovered some of the other channels like Base Shaman. Then I discovered you guys this year, and around March, I decided to just start making content of my own. I figured, you know what, those cookies look pretty good. I'm pretty sure people are going to want to know how to make those, you know what I mean?
So could you, especially those hardened brownies, too. Don't forget.
I made those, too, except I forgot to leave them out. I forgot the most important step.
I mean, most of your videos are really, really funny, but is it like it's TCAP recipes? But do you have a special sort of I was gonna say affection, but that's the wrong way of putting it. But is Lorne up there with your? Because it is Lorne Radio. Is Lorne your favorite predator? I've never known how to word that because it just sounds. Do you have a favorite sex offender? Can you imagine if he was walking down the street?
Do you hold him
randomly stop people and like you said, if you randomly stop someone and said, "Who's your favorite singer?" people could almost buy into that. But if you said, "Who's your favorite sex offender?" Oh, I've got one. It's Lorne Armstrong. It's Lorne Armstrong.
Lord definitely sticks out for me. Absolutely. Like I remember, like even 8 years ago, I'm thinking about this dude really wanted to marry a 13-year-old girl. What the hell is wrong with you, dude? Hey, you're wrong for that. But I would say it's generic white male. Like, what? No way. I was just on my way to the beach.
That's like favorite moments as far as predators go, isn't it? But does that make him your favorite predator?
That's hard to say, actually. It's definitely between him and Lorne.
Well,
Lorne.
The thing is, it's like, how would you even quantify what your favorite predator is, and how would you like if you was going to write it down and say, right, what qualities does a person need to have to be my favorite predator? You know, predatory skills, patheticness, lack of
patheticness, big time.
Well, I mean, Lorne would win every time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely patheticness, all that stuff.
So, how did you? How did you react? How did you think? How did you feel when you found out he was in jail again?
I wasn't surprised at all, actually. Like, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. If that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense to me. I agree. I thought it was gonna the other shoe was gonna drop any second. To tell you the truth. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you guys.
No, it's fine.
No, don't worry.
I think everybody was kind of. When we looked at the violations in the video, was it last week, guys? When we went over the document, the court document.
Yeah. We did it. We did one on Friday and Sunday. We did with Tiffany on Sunday. I think we went over the documents that day, didn't we, Tiff?
Yeah, that's what we did.
Okay. And and again, it seems like again, I hate to keep coming back to the present moment real quick, but it looks like they're concentrating on the issue of the failure of rape class. It looks like that seems to be the big issue here. The alcohol is there, but it's always been there. I mean, they've been letting him violate for the last 3 or 4 years, but I think the rape class was the last straw. So, and it's it's for something like alcohol. I don't think they'd be all hell bent on violating him as much, but where he's actually, there was one call you had, Tiffany, where he had just admitted to, first of all, there's no Cornville Mafia, I guess, watching all this stuff. I guess he goes over to his mother's house and he has Roy on the computer and basically instructs him on what to do. That's a use of the internet, indirect or direct. It doesn't matter. He's still using it. Just because his sausage fingers aren't on the keyboard doesn't mean he's not using it. So I think they're probably concentrating on that. That's what it sounds like. And for all those who don't know, according to his lawyer, apparently he's looking at 6 to 12. And again, that's months. Excuse me. That's right.
What a shame.
I didn't mean to excite everybody, but again, keep in mind that this is coming from his lawyer, and he's cherry picking all the information he can get from him. So probation, it depends how hard probation wants to go at it. But if they come up with an agreement, that's probably what he'll get. But if they go to trial on the revocation, he's going to look at probably a lot more than that.
Well, I mean, we've got to look at it from what's going to, what's going to give us most entertainment. Crazy lawsuits he's writing from in prison, trying to sue whoever his probation officer, probably be petitioning to get them the death penalty or something. And then if he's out, he'll just continually keep getting catfished by whoever it is that decides to do it, because he literally will fall for anything.
I'd like to go back to your original question and ask Tiffany how she got started on this.
Well, I got started in watching TCAP originally when it was on the air all of those years ago. And then I was watching the reruns on NBC's website. They used to have them up there. Mm-hmm. And then eventually they went away. And I happened to be on YouTube one day and figured that I would look it up. And when I did, I came across a ton of other channels that were available. It wasn't just the footage. I think I saw Shaman's channel first. Ember had a channel. And I started looking into those.
What time period was this about? A couple years ago?
Yeah, it was only a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I think it was probably around the time that Andrew started. Because I remember his channel popping up too, and he was mentioning that he was just starting. So whenever that was, I think it was a couple of years.
Yeah, I think it was late 2006 or something. I think
2016.
Yeah, sorry, that was before he even went to prison.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if it was like getting into pornography back then? That'd be some kind of amazing
prophecy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I got started in listening to a lot of the things, and really, really learned about Lorne and what everyone was talking about when it comes to him. I remember seeing him on the show. He didn't stand out to me as someone who would get a lot of attention, but now I can see why he does. Certainly, he's an interesting character.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, absolutely.
I think one of the things that TCAP said that rang true for me too is one of the things that stuck out is for me about Lorne was this the serious nature of the relationship he wanted with this 13-year-old. That he was clearly, well, in his own deluded mind, he was in love with her, and he wanted to marry her, and he wanted to have children with her. And I think that's what made me kind of focus on him, because that was weird. That was just truly weird.
Yeah,
that was it with me. It was like you got the impression from the words he was saying when it flashed up in the original segment, like on the show. It was like, I wish I could marry you right now because I would do it. And you're like going, wow, this is different to what the other guys were saying, because they were just kind of like, they just wanted to get, I'm sorry to be crude, but they just wanted to get their end away, didn't they? And this guy's like, oh, I love you. You're like, what fucking planet is this guy on?
I would die for you, not just because you're 13.
But can you remember, guys? Can each one of you remember the first time you had access to the full Holy Lornography? It was like, it was just amazing. It was like being given a brand new album of your favourite artist, and you're like, oh my God, what is this? You know?
That thing's as thick as a telephone book.
Yeah. Sure is.
It's
I remember listening to Shaman's version. I got through like 6 hours. I was like, holy shit, dude.
Well, if you think there was like him and Nathaniel Trevor, both did a full reading of it. And I know, like, obviously, you know, Nathaniel was kind of the first one, as I remember, that did the proper analysing. And I, you know, regardless of what his character brought into question, because there was a load of shit that went down, I don't know the full details of it. All I know is,
Yeah, I missed out on Nathaniel, unfortunately.
yeah, and I used to listen. I used to get home from work and like there'd be a new video virtually every day of his, and I'd stick it on immediately. And I used to find it really insightful, but I was so interested to hear anything I could on this guy. But it was different back then because my mind and imagination used to run away, thinking, "What's he up to now? You know, what's he doing? Is he sat there crying? Is it just? It just used to like." I think it was like the mystery used to really entice me. Does anybody sort of did anybody have that kind of feeling as well back then?
I think with Lorne, I think it was one of the things that I noticed, of course, is I want to marry you right now, and we're going to talk about babies and having this relationship for 5 years before you turn 18. It's really disturbing, of course. But also, one of the things I thought was that he wasn't in love with Kayla. There was nothing to be in love with, but he wanted her to be in love with him. And that's where all of the instances of putting responsibility on her to take care of him. You need to make sure that I wake up. You need to call me right now. You need to do this and that. That's really all that it was.
Yeah, that was actually more offensive to me than this dirty shit. Mm-hmm. That kind of control. It's interesting you say that, Tiffany. Do you think he's in love with any of the catfishes?
No.
So
he's in Lorne love though, because love and Lorne love is two different things. In other words, does he convince himself? I got the impression with the chat log, he convinced himself he loved her. Like he thought he found the answers to all his problems. Now his version of love, he doesn't have the ability to truly love anyone. You have to be a very rounded person to do that, I would suggest.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like all he does is he just goes around and like Tiffany says, he's just looking for validation over and over again, and he's trying to force his black heart on all these people, and his heartbreak doesn't last very long because once he gets his focus on somebody else, he beams in on that. So you're right. I don't think it's love. I think it's just he just wants to know that somebody likes him. Or doesn't,
because he doesn't like himself, and I mean, I don't blame him.
No,
good point. It's a vicious circle, that isn't it? How does he step out of? How does he step out of that cycle? That's probably something for another time. But
well, according to him, he needs a woman to help him with that.
Wow,
that's
which is a common thing. Let's look at this logically. Millions of people throughout the world think the answers to their problems lie in the relationship, in the other, the man or the woman. He's no different, but the problem, he is different. The problem with him is his problems lie so deep that he doesn't know. Do you know where would you start? Do you know what I mean? Usually it's just somebody's like a little bit bored or they're lonely. With him,
he doesn't want help. I mean, Tiffany also touched on this on a phone call. What he wants is somebody to make him feel better. Not try to teach him, not try to bring him along and being a decent human being. He wants to lay his bald head in your lap and have you stroke it while you tell him he's okay. That's all he wants.
That's exactly it too.
Yeah, it's a gross image, but still, I mean, he's not interested in having someone help him with some actual help. He just wants to be able to fuck up and then have the person say, "You're not that bad of a guy. Don't worry about it." That's all he wants.
Well, that's the reason why he got so into Nicki. Everyone remembers Nicki from when he first got out of prison. The reason why he stuck around her, even though maybe she wasn't the ideal girlfriend, what made her girlfriend material was that she didn't run away. So,
well, what's the story behind that? I mean, do you have kind of a truth? I mean, was there kind of an attraction that she kept blowing him off on, or
Well, I think what happened was this was at a time when he was still allowed to go to bars, and so he did.
Right.
And he met Nicki, and they struck up, conversations and things like that. I don't think that there was ever anything intimate between the two of them.
Right.
But in his mind, what happens in his mind.
Yeah.
It's going to go way off the deep end, and he's going to consider some type of relationship. And the reason why he considered that to be a relationship was because she knew of his situation. She knew what he did, and she still accepted him in a
real
certain
person.
way. A real person. Yeah, absolutely. So she became really important to him, and then it all went bad, and she ended up getting a restraining order against him. So.
Was this the girl that Joey did that video on that was had a husband or had a boyfriend and eventually had to get a restraining order or something? Was that?
I can't remember exactly if that's the same person, but I do know that he showed up at her place of employment, I think after they had stopped talking, or she was telling him to leave her alone. So, and that, I mean, if there's ever an MO for Lorne,
and that's a relationship. And that's a relationship in his mind. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, he just wants someone who's going to accept him for who he is and be okay with it and love him anyway. At least not run away.
And hopefully he won't find that person, not to interrupt, because he's like really unhealthy. I certainly don't have to tell you, Tiffany.
No, absolutely. I hope that he never does either. And, certainly by keeping him away from the bars and places where you're going to meet someone, I think that's cutting off his access to women like him.
That's interesting. That's really, so initially his condition was to not abuse alcohol. He was allowed to drink, but he wasn't allowed to abuse it. And then eventually Correct. It was zero tolerance. But when he was able to use alcohol, he was able to go to bars?
Yes.
And he did.
Well, I should clarify that and say I don't know exactly. I want to say that he was allowed to because it is a public place. So I think he would be too nervous. Well, I think he would be too nervous of showing up to a bar if he wasn't allowed to be there legally.
Yeah.
So I want to say maybe they didn't spell it out specifically. You cannot go to a bar in his first rule. Mm.
If he can't go to a bar, how's he supposed to start his country music career and go out karaokeing?
Well, he can't. That's why he needs his YouTube.
And he can't.
That's what it is.
Exactly. He can't go to a non-alcoholic bar or because the kids are too young there. So his career is screwed.
Yeah, exactly.
So it turns out that Lorne had these freedoms essentially, and then he slowly got them stripped away because of his behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I think the key is he didn't take his situation seriously. That's something that, Tiffany, you was able to establish in the calls that are already in the dump is that you've gone over with him what he needed to do. Because it's like one of the reasons I started to enjoy what you were doing is because rather than just ripping him for the sake of it, there was a part of you that tried to set him on the straight and narrow, that recognised that a safer Lorne, a safer Lorne is better than everybody. He's not driving drunk, but you then realised you was just wasting your time, didn't you? There was there's no helping that human being. There really isn't.
He doesn't have it doesn't seem like anything that is really significant and important has any impact on him. And the reason why. Perfect example is the Victim 1 tape that we were talking about. The fairground girl that he went to see.
Oh, yeah.
When Tiffany got him to admit that, okay, they took a break. And that was like earth-shattering as far as I'm concerned. That changed everything in my mind. And you hear Lorne in the background, while they're on a break, it's still recording. It's still recording. And he's talking to his animals like nothing just happened. Like, hey, Sadie, did you hear Daddy just confessed to being a serial predator? Isn't that great? I mean, it's like nothing happened. And then when he got back to talking to Tiffany, he got broken up again about the whole thing. Nothing gets through to this guy.
No, nothing.
And I thought that was so revealing, the way he can
It's
talk.
truly terrifying.
Yeah.
We've got to remember, as weird as it sounds, there are lots of people like Lorne. I think the thing is, there are people that never learn their lessons, that can never sort their life out, that don't listen to good advice, that don't take the law seriously, that never stop drinking, that never treat themselves well. It's very, very common. However, because this guy's tale is so unusual, it's something that we follow, and because we're all normal people, I'd like to think, we find it amazing. What amazes me is, like, when Tiffany's talking to him, she says things like, it's just shocking after he says something or does something, don't you, Tiff? It's like, you say, it really shocks me. I'm sorry about the crazy accent there. So, do you get what I mean? You can even though you've spent all that time trying to sort him out, you're still shocked by his behavior, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, I would, yeah, I think it is just, it's disbelief is really what it comes down to. I can't say that anything is necessarily surprising in the sense that it would be unheard of it happening or of something coming out of his mouth, but it's always interesting when it does. It's a difficult thing to explain, I guess.
You don't know what's going on in his head. You have no clue. Well, actually, you do. You do. It's to somehow get Tiffany, somehow get her attracted, somehow get her impressed. That's the only thing in his head.
Yeah, there's an agenda behind. I think it's quite clear that the only reason so much information was divulged is because he thought there was going to be something at the end of it when he was talking to Tiffany, so we were able to get more information out of him. So he's very one track. He's very one dimensional, is he, in his approach to everything. He just doesn't have that awareness to fully.
One has zero social awareness. Yeah, I agree with you there.
It's awareness on any level. It's like I think what we find interesting is because, we live our lives in a certain way, and we have all of us have our faults. We're all humans, and it's part of being human. But we'd like to think that we, treat people with a certain amount of respect, and we try to live our lives as best as what we can. And he doesn't do any of that to any degree. And it's like, what? And it's not like he's just some. This is the point I'm trying to make. You got somebody like John Kennelly, right? Like, so I just came to get something to eat. Who doesn't work, just looks like a total loser. Lorne has something. What I mean by that is he has the ability to have a job. He can hold relationships to a minor degree with regard to he has a couple of friends. And do you know when he spoke to? It's like Betty said. He comes across as charming. And it's difficult for us to accept.
I can see that.
But he's got the gift of the gab a little bit, hasn't he? And he uses a little bit of humour every now and again to sort of become that way. And so if you weren't to know anything about him, you would almost... I don't know, if you met him and you didn't know anything, do you think you'd sniff out straight away, hang on a minute, this guy's a bit...
Not right away, but I think you just listen to him a little bit longer and it'll wear thin pretty quick. I think you'll realize his thought capacity is kind of limited. It's all superficial. He's boring as hell. I can't think of one fucking thing.
No, he's not boring because he's funny. You can't call him boring.
When he's trying to be interesting. When he's trying, well, I guess you're right.
He's only inadvertently funny. He's not funny as in he's a comical genius. He's funny as in like it's like, I'm gonna quote The Simpsons. Here we go again. It's like when Burns is watching him on Homer on the security cam, and he goes, "Smithers, who is that fellow getting all those laughs?" And then Smithers is like, "It's Homer Simpson, sir, but I don't think that." "Excellent, I want his comedy." It's like he doesn't understand that people are laughing at him. Do you know what I mean? Comedy.
I remember that one. Yeah, I remember.
Now
that
it's
one.
time for the comedy stylings of Homer Simpson. Dude. Anyway, forget it.
I haven't watched The Simpsons in a while, but every time you bring it up, I recall the episode you're talking
My
about.
mate, I went watching a rugby game before, and a friend of mine was like, he knows about this, and he says, when are you doing your YouTube shit? And I says, I'm doing one tonight. And he was like, are you still going on about that fucking sex offender after 3 years? What the fuck else is there to talk about? And he was like, he just doesn't get it.
Oh, there is. We would surprise you. Something
We've got a new guest. I'm sorry, Patrick. It's
Patrick's here.
Yeah, he is, Mr. Patrick TCAP Island. Hello, sir.
Patrick, dude, what's going on, buddy?
How are you getting on? You were talking about that Simpsons episode. I think I watched that last night, actually.
Are you ready to laugh?
It's the Bobo one, is it? Bobo, my beautiful Bobo. That's a crack of that one. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining us, sir.
Tug on me, squeeze me, tug on my fur.
Leave the costume.
OK Sing to me said something that addressed that point about him talking to his dogs. While he just said something so devastatingly alarming and didn't even faze him. But his theory is, you think Lorne talking to his animals was intentional? Maybe he knew that we were that you were listening, and he just wanted to put. I lost it somehow. I'm sorry. Okay, but what he's basically saying is maybe he was putting on an act for the listener to show what a good guy he is.
That's
like
exactly what he does. If you listen to when he's reading the Lornography, he had read it for a couple of days prior to when we were doing this project of him putting it out there so he can get celebrity endorsements from Sylvester Stallone and Gordon Ramsay.
Celebrity endorsements.
We need to talk
Yeah.
about that, because that could be one of the most funniest
Celebrity endorsements for a guy who puts his dogs on a treadmill.
It's great. Well, before we get to that, I just want to point out that when we were reading it the first couple of days, he was putting on the crying act. And what was happening was after that, when we would be reading it, say the first time or the second time, when he thought that it was going onto YouTube, he would make comments like, it was really hard for me when I was reading with Debbie the first couple of days. I was so broken up about it. And he was really kind of disappointed that the audience wasn't going to hear how distraught he was when he was reading his words for the first time. He felt like his performance was a little subdued because he had already been through it the first time.
I have a question for you, Tiffany. There were so many times, I'm sure, and I just got to ask whether this went through your head, because it went through mine. When he said something, when you were reading the chat log, and he said something that was particularly provocative that we love. It's something that was really weird, off the wall. It could be anything. You could pick anything. Did you ever just want to stop there and say, what the fuck were you thinking? Was there any times when you were saying, dude, what's up with that?
Well, we did that a couple of times.
I know, but I'm assuming that you didn't want to do it as much as you wanted, because you wanted to keep the momentum going. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of it is so repetitive.
Right.
That once you ask him about, hey, why did you want her to look at your dick every minute? You're not going to ask him the same question the next time he asks it. You know what I mean? So, but we did stop a few times when he would tearfully say, stop it, Emma. And then we would have a little side conversation about what was going on, and let's take a couple of deep breaths so we can keep going.
You made him see where he could have gotten nabbed for child pornography.
Yeah.
That was pretty big. That was...
I don't think that he remembers everything that he said. When you have to be a liar, you have to have a really great memory. And obviously he's going back a long time, so he's not going to remember every single thing that he said in there. But he certainly doesn't remember the times when he really did incriminate himself either. So he liked to say, oh, this was another charge they wanted to throw on top of me because I had a camera. But look at what you said. You said what you were going to do with that camera with her. So,
right.
Case closed. Right. Yeah.
No, now
Lorne's really good at playing victim, isn't he?
Absolutely.
He's mastered the art, really.
I would say he's probably the best in the world at playing the victim. Who could have written those lawsuits? If there was a prize for zany lawsuits, that guy would be a multi-billionaire.
I didn't even think those were serious. I thought he was just kidding.
Exactly.
That poor law.
Comedy writer, the writers of The Simpsons couldn't have come up with a better document than that. Female powers, unintentional travel. You know, he only went in there to befriend and protect her. What was it? The decoy used a persuasive and cunning ways to extract information.
He used the adjective disgusting about 33 times. And he wanted to. What was the other best? My favorite is if it was the old days, we'd put up our dukes. And I'm thinking, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Does he really old days persuasive for a judge? Does he really think that?
It's the hidden admissions that I like as well. He even says in his own words that chatting up minors online isn't a bad offence. He says that in a lawsuit to try and exonerate himself from fucking child.
On that note, Tiffany, that new phone call that was released, he was trying to rationalize having a 13 or 14 or 15-year-old girl have feelings for him. He was trying to say that they were in love with him too. And again, this is past the time you said they were victims. They weren't friends. They weren't in love. He was trying to say in a weird way that they have the capacity to fall in love too. That's pedophile talk.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He's everything that he talks about in relation to his victims. He will always say, this is what we wanted. We wanted to see each other in person, all that kind of stuff. And really what it comes down to is you have a grown man talking to a child. And so when he's talking about kids that age or teenagers falling in love, he even makes reference to a family member who met his wife when they were in high school.
Right.
And they were in love. Well, the thing is that when you are 16, you're going to have that love relationship with someone who's around your age.
Right.
Not someone who's twice your age. Exactly. Yeah. High school sweetheart. So it's certainly different, when you look at what the love she could have had, it would have been vastly different from the love that Lorne was trying to create with her. It was way out. It was way outside of what she was capable of doing, and that's the whole point.
Capable of any adult doing, to tell you the truth.
Sure, absolutely.
Patrick got away without having to explain how he got involved.
Yeah, I was just gonna.
Right.
Yeah, I was just gonna come to that, Patrick. Thanks for joining us, dude. So the kind of questions I like to ask everybody is like, what got you into all this predator business, and what is your specific interest in Lorne, and how did it manifest?
Because I'm a sick son of a bitch. Basically, so what happened was I was doing a work experience thing in a marketing office, and it was so boring that I was going on YouTube, and I used to be, I suppose I still am, like, I used to follow, Chris Chan, the infamous internet guy. Yeah, well, I saw that Base Shaman had videos on him. So I was watching those Base Shaman videos, watching a bit of Elliot Rodger, all those videos he used to do. And then I found Lorne, and I was like, who the fuck is this fucking redneck fucker singing songs and selling shorts on eBay?
And then unbelievable, isn't it?
And then I obviously copped on that he was on Catch a Predator, and I was like, oh yeah, that show. Because obviously I assume it never aired over in England, Andrew. It definitely.
What never aired?
Catch a Predator.
It did. Not too long after. I think it was like 2008, so it was like a year behind. There was a couple of crime channels on satellite TV.
Like Sky.
Yeah, Sky. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it didn't air. Well, if it did air here, it would have aired on Sky, and I was 14 at the time, so there was no way I was stumbling onto Catch a Predator when I was 14. Basically, through Base Shaman, found Lorne, and then I watched all the videos on YouTube, all the episodes of Catch a Predator, and fell into the community, I guess. I started making my videos in May, and that's pretty much it, really.
And do you have, like, I know it's difficult,
a favorite pedophile? I do actually.
Go on.
Yeah, but Lorne, obviously, because all my videos are about fucking Lorne.
Yeah, well, but 90% of mine are. Do you have? I don't think anybody can categorically say what their favorite moment is because it'll fluctuate because there's so many. But do you have a favorite line or a favorite moment or even a particular situation that he got into that stands out for you?
There's so many. I couldn't pick just one, but you were talking about the lawsuits, and that brought to mind. Remember that time you wanted to apologize to the whole world?
Yeah.
I think that was quite hilarious.
Yeah, that was. I want to apologise to the whole world for my behaviour, and then 5 minutes later, he's slagging off the court, saying that they fucked him over.
I gotta say, that left me off balance a little bit. I didn't realize that British people did sarcasm so well. I couldn't tell whether he was serious or not in the beginning. Some of your stuff, I was wrong. I had no idea. This guy, look at it. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. And then you went through his chat log and you couldn't. It was funny. I have a question. I have a question for the community, Andrew, if it's okay.
Of course it is, yeah.
I'd like to know at what point in time do you think, and again, whether you were involved with the community or not, I mean, I know we have some history. We remember the Sam era, Ember's been there, the Nathaniel era, then the Ramona era, and then, of course, we've got this and everything else. What would you consider the golden age, or has it even come yet for Lorneography?
Mine, this is just me, was pre-contact, and I'm not just saying that because of misgivings about, contacting him or whatnot. I used to love it when Crank Cinema would bring out a new video that would be like 10 cringiest moments.
Yes.
And I used to think, when I watched them, I used to picture in my head Lorne sat there on his floor because he still hasn't got a bed, watching these videos and people raging. And him raging because he's like, oh God, you know what I mean? And then he gets his pen out and writes another lawsuit and he's suing everybody. That used to just, like that. It used to fascinate me. What's this guy up to now? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. What about you guys?
If I could go back in time to that pre-contact era, oh my God. Or even like before, like that, when it was a bit more active. I suppose it's getting really active now with all this new stuff that's coming out and him going to jail and all that. But if I could go back in time to pre-contact era, it'd be fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying those Sam Hamilton therapist calls. Those are like the cleanest, best pleasure to me right now.
They are good. They are good.
Like the Lucky Charms comments, everything. It's freaking hilarious.
And the text message that was shown while I guess Lorne was listening while Ramona was on the phone with the therapist. Those screenshots in that video of Lorne saying, "You get off the phone with him. He's getting too personal," and she's saying he's funny. That was funny. What about you?
And then him talking about the macaroni and cheese, and that was why he did what he did.
Yeah.
And then Sam's reaction afterwards was just priceless.
Yeah, I'd rape a kid too. I can see now. Tiffany, what's your idea of the golden age, of when the golden age, if it has happened yet?
I think it's right now.
I do too. I agree.
I think that, one of the most satisfying things is, of course, getting back to jail.
Yes.
Not being able to just walk out of his PO's office with a smirk on his face or thinking, oh, it's no big deal. I can go in there and lie on my lie detector test and nothing bad's going to happen to me. Now it's interrupting his life in a big way, as it should. Mm-hmm. And, when he's rambling on about everyone's out to get me, the PO is, just has an axe to my head and, they're abusing their power. He doesn't realize that he's done everything to himself. Everything.
Truth.
Is happening right now. Yeah. His signature is on the page every time he agreed, I will not drink alcohol, period. That was put on his probation for a reason. And he signed it and he continued on with his life as if nothing was going to happen. He makes a statement at one point saying, they don't want to put me back in jail. They know I have a lot to lose.
I remember that.
Yeah, right. That's it.
Yeah. Only thing he has to lose is a dodge journey. And going to jail is a journey that he can't dodge.
Absolutely.
Well, tell Epstein that, I mean, it'll talk about people a lot to lose, right?
Oh, Jesus.
He had nothing to lose. Lorne had absolutely nothing to lose. And not only that, probation wouldn't give a shit, nor would the judge.
No, absolutely. But in his mind, that's what he has to tell himself in order to be okay.
But now he's slapping reality.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, now he can't. So all of the times that we knew that he was drinking and driving, we knew that he was walking away from shit, basically unscathed. Now it just goes to show all of those times was just a matter of building up a paper trail so that they can move forward and get him exactly where he is right now, and he's going to have to answer for it.
I think there's a certain amount of satisfaction knowing where he is right now, and also scaring the shit out of him. And I was concerned with that first jailhouse phone call. He sounded too good, and I suspected at that time that he was in medical at that point, and it turns out that was correct, because he was using an administration phone, somebody's phone that was on the desk, and now he's back in jail, and you could hear the reality just slowly seeping in. He's starting to get it. He's going to be there for a while. I don't know. This hearing coming up. From what I understand, they're looking to get him released on ROR, on his own recognizance, I guess. Because if the judge sets bail, that's the same thing as saying no bond for Lorne. He can't afford anything. He can't even afford $20 on his phone account. So I think he's going to be in there. But for him to have the idea that he needs to get his quote unquote affairs in order. Okay. And what is that? 2 weeks? That'll be it'll be 10 days. He'll have 10 days to do that. I don't know if they're going to let him out. I think that's going to be the beginning of any phone calls after that. Once he's in and he's denied bond or denied release, I think you're going to see reality really hit home with him. If it doesn't, then the man's impervious to anything.
Just joining the chat. Adam's here.
Hello. Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks. Nice to meet some of you guys I haven't spoken to before.
Yeah, likewise.
It's getting a bit crowded, but we'll try and crack on anyway. Adam, how did you feel when you heard that Lorne was back where he belongs?
Well, I'm a little bit like, there's not going to be any new content for the dump, is there? So I'm a little bit sad, to be honest.
Oh, there will be.
There will be?
Yeah, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Well, let's not. We'll talk. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, I think it's well known, actually, isn't it, that he's called from in prison. But of course, he's in the jail. I don't understand how the jail system works exactly in the US, but he's in a local jail at the minute. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then once he's been sentenced, which is it the 3rd of September?
Correct.
Then he'll get sent to prison.
And I'll be there.
And Adam, should we fly over?
Yes, you guys should.
That would be great.
If we have enough people, we'll just get a hotel, just get a floor.
I reckon if I write to British Airways and say, listen, right, I don't fancy paying $1,000 for this flight, but we're going over to watch Lorne Armstrong's court case. I'm sure they'll give us both first class tickets for free.
And I'm sorry, I keep quoting Tiffany's calls, but didn't Lorne say you could actually go up to the ticket counter, just declare an emergency and get on any flight you want?
Yeah,
isn't that what?
Isn't that what? A TSA agent out of the way,
whatever. I can't remember that. Oh my gosh.
Only in Lorne's world, huh?
I don't think he's ever been inside a civilian airport, to tell you the truth.
No, I don't either.
So I can just recap exactly what's happened for me, because I've not really been in the loop for the last few weeks. So I know he's gone to jail, but that's all the information I have.
I think Tiffany would be best for that task.
Well, basically, he violated probation, and for the last time, there was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. That he lied on his lie detector test. He was then suspended from his sex offender treatment class, which means that he was sent back to jail for that purpose. He cannot be out in society without being in treatment. So they picked him up. Well, actually, no, he went to them, and then they brought him to jail. He's been in there since the 7th. and he's going to be appearing in front of a judge next Thursday in order to say whether or not he can get out of jail until his sentencing hearing on September 3rd. And he believes that he's going to be able to do that, but I don't see it happening either. It's just there's not enough time. And then also one of the contingencies for him to get out of jail to begin with was that he had to be in treatment. I'm not sure if you've seen the treatment plan that they had attached to the newest motion.
No, I didn't
that
see
was
that.
submitted. Okay. Basically, there is another class, a rape school that will take him in, and will.
School. I applied to go, but they wouldn't let me.
Of course. So he.
Said you didn't need any more help, Andy.
Ouch! Another blow to Lorne.
So this time around, he's going to be required to pay for his treatment, which is not something that he was supposed to do before. So the last 2 times that he had been in class, gotten kicked out, he didn't have to pay for anything. So now he's going to be required to pay for it. It's pretty expensive. He's required to take polygraphs, which he's going to have to pay for $300 a piece. There's also something called limestone testing, which people have.
Are we going to talk about this now? This is something that OK Sing to me is pointed to. Is it the dick test?
Okay.
Yeah, I got a client off with that once. Yeah, I got a client.
I bet you did.
Oh,
Well, no, in a divorce case, it wasn't a, it was an accusation made. We actually volunteered to do that at Children's Hospital, believe it or not. But yeah, that would be amazing.
So I don't think he's going to be required to do that. So basically, what it's known as is the penis lie detector. So what they do is they attach a cuff to the penis, and then they show them photos, and they're going to see which photos are going to elicit a response.
Do you think the testers had talked to Lorne's penis and talked to it like Mr. Penis, and like it's a person?
Mr. Penis is getting a lie detector.
Here is Mr. Penis, the guy that, the infamous Mr. Penis. Like, right, sir, I'm going to place this thing onto you now.
They're gonna put a little surgical cap on him too.
Well, what's great is that when he does, if he did have to have this test, which I don't think he's going to have to be honest with you. But if he were to be required to do it, a guy is going to have to put it on his dick, which I think
and it depends on the program. If he gets into a program, and this sounds like it's an intensive program.
Yes.
Okay, and not only that, but he's asking to be in that program just for 10 days before he goes back to prison.
That's right, exactly. So the fact that he may be enrolled in this class or agree to it, it's not enough time. I mean, you can't. Only one, they do the classes weekly, so he would have his initial consultation plus one class maybe before he would have to go back in, which isn't enough.
Makes no sense.
And the other thing too is with regard to paying, he has to pay prior to each treatment. So each class he has to have cash in hand in order to pay for it, and we all know that
What's his plan on that?
What plan? His plan is that he's going to sign off on anything just to get out of jail. That's what it is. That's basically what it comes down to. He will not have the money to be able to keep up with this. Absolutely.
Yeah, unless they take payments in the form of pictures of his little asshole, he's not going to be able to pay for that at all.
That's right.
Send in those money orders.
Checks. God. He could barely survive with what little money he has now. I don't know how it's economically unfeasible for him.
Do most people know the story of his car? Do you want to explain this, Tiffany? Because I found this fucking hilarious.
I don't know this.
Okay, well,
I'm kind of in the dark.
Okay, well, he does have a car. He has a 2018 Dodge Journey, and that's something that's been noted around. But one of the
how the hell did he get that?
Well, this is the story.
So Lorne, because he went through bankruptcy and he's terrible with money, he basically walked into a car lot and they had their fangs dripping at that moment when they saw Lorne coming and knew that they were going to be able to pay for their kids to go to college. So they sold him this car that has a value of, I think, about $25,000, and sold it to him for $600 a month. So
Oh,
what he's paying for this car, which is known to be somewhat of a lemon. It's not going to be, some kind of a high class car. He's paying that when he could be driving around in a Mercedes or something like that. So the repo man is going to be on his way. That's for sure.
And what happened? He made his first payment, which I'm sure everybody was shocked by. And then, if I'm right, Tiff, didn't he miss the fucking second payment?
He has missed. He missed the second payment. For sure. And then he called them up and they work with him pretty good. So
credit union works with them pretty good.
Yeah. And so he was able to make some kind of arrangement where he said he'll pay $100 more every month on top of his normal payment in order to catch up. And then his payment was due yesterday, and that's not going to happen. So,
so his car's getting repoed. Roy's going to take his trailer.
The dogs are going to be hopefully in better care with someone. Do we know about the dogs, Tim?
yeah.
The dogs are in his house. He does have family going over to feed them and hopefully spend some time with them as well. But they are at his house for right now. I don't think they really have another place for them to go at the moment.
Now, I just had a look on the Mercedes-Benz website, and you can get the E-Class Saloon from €602 a month.
I was going to say, I rented a Mercedes years ago, and it was that much. It was $600. It was 550 something.
And the E-Class isn't like the bottom of the bar, like that's near the top. Yeah.
Yeah. That car dealership really saw him coming.
Oh, absolutely. He had no room to negotiate anything. He just basically
ran his credit.
Whatever he could. We're right, exactly.
It's just typical of someone like him in his position to get a car that he can't afford, that he misses the second payment, he doesn't pay people, he owes Betty $30,000 and he spends $25,000 on a car.
Do you know what his interest rate is? Do you know what he got for an interest rate?
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's through the roof. Yeah, he does. It's through the roof, though. I mean, it's something ridiculous that no one would ever agree to. So essentially, all of his money is going to interest.
Plus, you got to insure that car up to the hilt. I mean, you got to have full collision on that thing.
Right.
And registration.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got to register, too.
Absolutely. Yep. The registration, the gas, the upkeep, to it. So there's a lot of stuff. I mean, he absolutely could have gotten something a lot more reasonable, something that, somebody was selling in the newspaper. I mean, just to get him to work. But he didn't do that. So.
You sure he didn't get that truck to just take the transmission out and put it in his?
Oh yeah.
You beat me to it.
Sorry, Patrick. Sorry.
Right. He needs a parts journey to take the transmission out, and yeah.
But am I not wrong?
Oh, he probably will.
You need to get credit checked for these things, and surely Lorne hasn't got good credit. So why did anyone allow him to get that car?
Oh, a monkey could get a car loan.
Yeah, you can. You're just going to pay. You're going to pay probably 20%, if not more than that.
This is the idea, Adam. What's happened is he's gone to one of these places where they'll only offer credit to people with no credit history, and the interest rate, like them payday loans. It's a little bit like the car equivalent of that.
They're predatory. They're predatory loans for predators.
Yeah, I take it you have a similar thing in the US. We have things over here called payday loans, and they advertise them in the morning when unemployed people watch. And the interest, exactly. The interest rate is like 1,500% or something.
They do have those here. They're getting the laws are getting a lot more strict on them, though. But they are something like 200%. People get into a lot of trouble with them.
So what else has he got at home to get his affairs in order? His job. How's his job situation?
Well, I'm not sure what his job situation is going to be. At least right now, I can't say what it is currently, but I would have to say that he's going to lose his job. There's nobody that's going to allow him to be out of work for 6 months or more that isn't someone going to a rehab or someone who's not on medical leave. certainly they're gonna fill in his spot
Yeah.
as soon as they can. Yeah.
But then again,
Oh, definitely.
they probably got him really cheap too. So
As far as what they're paying him.
yeah, they probably are paying him really cheap because
we're getting really bad kind of.
That's TCAP recipes. TCAP, you there?
You gone
Oh, hey, what's up?
Are you outside?
No, that might be my fan. Let me turn that off. There we go.
Okay.
Right, that's
My bad.
Usually it's my ball. I have a ball or a pen.
You was bouncing the basketball before, but it stopped.
I got.
I just want to ask Adam, because me and Adam have done a lot of videos about Lorne in the past. I think a couple of years ago we started doing them. We did the videos, Adam, if you remember, when I think the funniest one we did was when Lorne had that meltdown online. I've still got that on my computer, by the way. When was it Darth Armstrong copy and pasted the chat log on one of his videos? And he went fucking nuts, didn't he?
Like, you people are sick. Why are you posting these things on my channel?
What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna find that video now. I'm not gonna play it, but I'm gonna read the comment of what he put for a bit of a laugh. So, but Adam, we've talked about this because we've done shitloads of videos on your channel as well. But is there something that sticks in your head as like the funniest moment, even with all the new content as well? Is there something that you kind of like the Happy Memorial Day bit, don't you?
That for me is like the best new quote of all time. No, well, it's the whole kind of nuance of the call where he like, right, we're gonna phone up Ramona and find out that she really fancied me. And then he realizes that she's probably not going to say that, but he's already made the call. So he's like, no, we're just going to sit here in silence. And she's like flabbergasted, like, so you phoned me up to sit here in silence? And he's like, Tiffany, don't say anything. And it's just brilliant. And then he goes, Happy Memorial Day. We're thinking
You gotta read
of
that
you.
comment. You have to read that comment now. You can't leave it like that.
I'm looking for it now. Don't. I hope that it's still here. I'm pretty sure it is. But we kind of like we like the bit where, to be fair, Ramona said to him like, so you weren't going to sleep with the person that was there, and he just went, oh. My favourite long quote is not even a word. It's just a noise.
It's just the moment that he's broken with logic.
I still remember the time that Lord called his poor mother while he was on the phone with Ramona, and she was just like, "The hell with him." And I was like, "That's great."
Oh, that time he called his boss at like 4:30 in the morning.
I remember his name.
I don't know about this. When you'll have to fill me in. When did he call his boss at 4 in the morning? Is this on one of the calls?
Yeah,
No,
it was
no,
one of the Ramona calls.
He didn't. We don't have the recording of the call. What we have is him explaining to Ramona in the aftermath of him doing that, and it was funny because the guy's name was Lowell, and he says so I called him. He says, well, I'm sleeping right now. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. He goes, yeah, well, I'll talk to you in the morning time, or some weird Children of the Corn language he used. I can't remember what it was. And he made it sound like, it's all set. The boss is going to talk to him, and everything's going to be good in the morning. He has no fucking clue that his boss is probably pissed off that he called in a drunken rage, and for some reason, it just doesn't hit him.
I found the quote. What I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to view. People can see the screen. So basically, people can read it for themselves. And I've quoted. It's like a screenshot of when me and Adam were doing the video. So if you look to, if ever you guys who were doing it, I've got access to the live chat or the video that I'm doing. You'll be able to see it. But it's coming up on the screen now, so you can see. Have you guys got access to it?
Yeah, he's written an essay.
Yeah, so, oh no, I think it was, I thought it was Darth Armstrong. I think it might have been him that had that account, so Lorne 20014 has just said, are you anxious to
Hold on, where is it?
Are you anxious to read my comment?
I can't even get past this fucking digital paste.
Son of a fucking bitch.
I gotta find it. Where is it, Andrew? Is it on the
street? Tiffany, could you please read that? I think it'll be funny.
Got it.
I actually can't see it.
Oh shit! Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's Tiffany. It's on the YouTube screen.
I don't see it on the YouTube screen either. Oh, wait a minute.
I think you were on the.
Okay, gotcha. Let's see. All right, you want me to read Lauren's response?
Well-
yeah, if you don't mind, yeah.
Oh, sure. Son of a fucking bitch. Fucking people amaze the hell out of me. I tried to tell you this was not about my case and just wanted to give you some insight on how fucking duped everyone was. And you still want to fucking attack me. Well, if you're getting the vibe from this message that you're really pissing me off, then you got it right. I read down through a crap load of comments, and I'm completely disgusted in the attacks on me. You fucking pieces of shit. Calling me a fucking predator and shit can go fuck yourselves. You're fucking right. I never wanted to go there. You don't fucking like
Why are they right? He's not said that. He's not said, oh, I agree with you, Lorne. You didn't want to go there.
Right. You don't fucking like it. Then kiss my fucking ass, bitches. Keep running your fucking mouths in stupid ways.
His little ass.
And I'll take a break for retarded bullshit and disable this piece of shit comment section. You want me to give information about my life before the sting? That's not going to happen right now, so get used to it. If you want me to tell you what exactly happened on my segment, I will tell you. But don't say a bunch of fucked up shit. You have questions, then ask me. If I want to answer them, then I will. If not, then I won't. But get the fuck over yourself.
And all from one line from the chat log.
But do you know what's so funny?
What was that line? What was the line that he was?
Are you anxious to touch my penis for the first time?
That's all it is, but it's an exact copy and paste. So basically, it's got Lorne 8 20014, then the 10th of the 10th 07, 11:44:08 p.m. and then are you anxious to talk? So basically, he's getting angry at his own comment. That's an exact copy and paste job. So he's just responding to himself. He's just arguing with himself. It's an exact copy and paste.
Like a dog chasing his tail.
Lorne 8 2014 is a piece of shit.
and that was
his screen name as well.
Who said that? Was it Darth or you?
I think I got it into my head. It was Darth Armstrong. I think he might have said some things that pissed him off as well. But
Darth is great. Darth is great.
I remember when I think I got home from work one day, Adam, and I think I Skyped you immediately. And we were like having a celebration, weren't we? We both got the whiskey open and started getting pissed.
That is one of the greatest comments in his comment room.
It's the content is so funny because he's calling. How can that guy call any other thing on this planet disgusting? How?
He loves that word. He loves that word.
Yeah. He does. He uses it all the time, doesn't he? Especially if you listen to the calls in the dump, he's always like, oh, that's disgusting. You're disgusting. That's disgusting. It's like everything's disgusting to him.
Yeah. Yeah, and then when he really gets angry, he goes with the faggots and the N words and everything else.
I've not heard that so much.
Yeah.
Oh, he loves dropping that F-bomb.
Oh wow!
I don't think I've ever heard him say the word faggot.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he did that a couple times. There was a reborn cuckold call in the dump that he went off on. It was pretty funny, actually.
Reborn cuckold call. What does that? I mean, I know what cuckold means.
Well, basically, it was only like a minute and a half long, but Reborn was pretending he was Winnie for a second, and then when Lord realized it was a dude, he went off. He went off. You fucking faggot, get your. And then he was protecting you, Debbie. What the hell was that all about? He's trying to. If you're going to threaten Debbie, come up here and threaten me. You see what kind of a man you are.
Oh, I heard that one.
Yeah. And then Reborn was going, meow. It was just nothing, And but Debbie, what was he trying to protect you from in that phone call? I just need to get some backstory on that.
I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Who was he
I don't
talking?
remember
Who does he think he was
exactly.
talking to? That might clear it up.
I think he was. So Debbie was married before, and I think that might have been her husband.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
But I think that maybe, he was making the rest or something like that. I don't remember exactly. I'd have to go back.
We need a
and
program.
see that.
Keep up with these characters.
Yeah.
I know.
Those poor dogs having to put
Yeah.
up with Ward's rantings.
Is he aware yet that he was jerking off to a male ghost?
No.
Oh, that is hilarious. That is
I
hilarious.
forgot about that.
I was listening to one of your calls today.
How did that come about, Tiffany? Because I listened to it and thought, this is a mock-up. It can't be real. What actually happened there?
Well, I wasn't really willing to have phone sex with him.
Oh, well, why not, you fucking spoil sport? Get a grip of
I know,
yourself,
right?
woman.
I know. No, I wasn't able to go that far. So we had a male ghost on hand that took over, and it was really great. I think it makes it so much better. It wouldn't have been interesting if I was doing it.
It was an obvious
Him
dude.
doing it.
It was an obvious dude.
Yeah, it was.
And it was
And that's
obviously not you.
right, and that's what makes it so funny is that it's a totally different voice altogether. No one has ever made noises like that. And the fact that he was like, he was so into it. I mean, it was great. It was really great.
Oh.
There's just no bounds for this guy, is there? But I mean, so he has sex with ghosts. He enrages at his own comments. He just kind of another funny thing about the lawsuit, which kind of amuses me, is how he has to get it in that it was his birthday. Like the court's gonna feel sorry for him because he got busted on his birthday, and like, oh well, actually, it's a bit cruel, that, isn't it? Like, should we let him off? Yeah, don't bother sending him to prison. In fact, let's revoke his sex offender status.
Yeah, if it's your birthday, that's the one day you're allowed to try to fuck a kid.
Right. Well, in June next year, I'm.
In fact, I've only got less than a month to go.
Right.
Yes.
Right, party time.
Better get in some chat rooms.
I think it's
believe
funny
those
too
country
that
music chat rooms are pretty good.
even now, in the current paperwork that's being filed, it has Lorne Armstrong, aka Lorne_A_2001.
I saw that. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I can't get away from it.
What does the 20014 come from?
I don't know.
Yahoo screen name.
I think that may be a zip code.
Oh, okay. Yes, it does
But I
look
don't
like
know.
a zip code.
Yeah, let me see if it's anything that would make
For what,
sense.
Nashville or Maine? It's probably Nashville.
Oh, actually, in 06.
Yeah.
Actually, if it's I don't know what that 20014 means.
Yeah, it's
But I
not.
know it's his Yahoo
Explain
screen
it
name from back in the day.
Right.
You know, it's funny, isn't it? Like, with how much time Lorne spent on the internet, he's not very good at it, is he?
No. And that was the biggest lie at Chris Hansen's interview when he says, "Is this all you do in your spare time?" And he said, "No, I don't." If you look in the chat log, he described some things that he used to do in his spare time. One of them was really kind of weird. He said, and I believe it was on the reading is on the Lorne Redemption channel. It's on October 9th, and it was 4:45. I remember that. He was saying that since Kayla wasn't on the line, he was going to walk around the city in Nashville. Essentially, he's got no money in his pocket, so he's going to walk around. And then he said he got bored and he came back. That pretty much sums it up, right? I mean, I don't imagine what other activities he would have besides karaoke and Kayla, the 2Ks. But that's his life, and he should have answered that question honestly and said, "Yeah, that's pretty much all I do in my spare time, unless I go for a walk aimlessly without any money in my pocket." But that's it.
Shin, I don't think for all the videos we've done together, I'm sure I have asked you this before, but considering all the people that you must have encountered in your career as on both sides of the courtroom, what is it about Lorne that intrigues you so much? Because you must have seen all sorts of shit.
I don't know. I guess I'm just waiting for him to hit reality sometime. You know,
You're going to be waiting a long time, my
Yeah.
friend.
You know, I mean, it's not anything that you can really compare to any of the experiences I've had with some people, some real bad people too, because he's kind of on an island of his own. But you know, to me, like for instance, when the Ramona breakup call, when she had, and she finally told him, I'm married, I have a boyfriend, it's not you, and it all came out. It seemed so anticlimactic to me. It almost seemed like he was expecting that, and I'm just waiting for that time when he finally gets hit in the face, like like I think it was Patrick or somebody mentioned. Somebody said, you were having phone sex with a dude. Did you know that? Did you know that will hit him? Something like that will hit him, and if this all unfolds where if Ember decides she's going to just, finally say, fuck you, Lorne, in a huge, huge way, that's what I'm waiting for. But in the meantime, we'll just have fun. But he doesn't strike me as anything different than other criminals, really, to tell you the truth, the same way they think.
Yeah, it's not him that's unusual. It's more he is unusual, but it's the case. It's the actual overall situation of somebody getting caught in that way, and he's got a certain degree of I don't know whether charismatic is the right way of putting it, because I've always thought as being charismatic is always a positive thing, but in his case, he clearly isn't. But saying that though, you could say that about serial killers, couldn't you?
Yeah,
Ted Bundy, like
psychopath.
Yeah.
Well, psychopaths are like that. They put on a mask.
Would you describe him as charismatic?
As what?
Charismatic.
Psychopathic.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, like I said, I remember there was one call where he rang up, didn't he ring Tiffany? Didn't he ring up the police about his brother?
Oh, he did.
He did, yeah.
And he sounded quite, in the way he was speaking, he was totally sober, and I remember thinking, he actually sounds like a normal person. He's like, hi, it's Lorne Armstrong, I'm calling because of this, that, and the other. And he was like, did anybody else get that impression?
I didn't hear that phone call.
Well, one of the most important things about that was he said, my name is Lorne Armstrong. I would like to remain anonymous.
I remember that call now.
I remember that one.
Only Lorne could come up with something like that.
So Andrew, if you wanted to retract what you just said about him sounding like a normal person.
You just completely...
Well, that won my heart. That won my heart. You're right. He's charismatic. That won me.
I would actually say he's more just kind of like a jovial person. He's the type of guy that walks into the store and we've heard him do this. He's like, hey, are you working hard? You're hardly working. You know, like that type of a guy, just kind of like goofy, but just, I don't know, has those stupid lines. And
he's a bit like
when he speaks to the taxi driver.
Oh, this is great. Yeah, the taxi driver.
He's talking to the taxi driver and he's being like very kind of jovial and fun with him. But then at one point he's also, I can't remember who he's talking to, which one of the people he's talking to. And he says baby, and the taxi driver's like, what? He's like, oh, not you.
And then when he starts like saying like some goofy shit over the phone, and Lorne's like, "Will you cut it out, baby?"
Yeah,
the taxi driver sitting right beside him.
It's so cringeworthy because he's like a 14-year-old going, "Look, I've got a girl on the phone." Look,
That's right, Adam. That's exactly right. That's exactly.
I talk to my girlfriend.
You think
you cringe when he calls you baby or beautiful lady, or what does he call you? Does that make you? Ugh. How do you feel personally when that happens? I hate when he says that.
I mean, I suppose now it just sort of, I don't even hear it, I guess, in the same way that he doesn't hear when he calls him a pedophile every 5 minutes, or when his treatment class is referred to as a rape class. That used to, of course, bother him at first. Don't call it that, but
Gorilla Mom.
Gorilla. Yeah. I mean, it just sort of, when you just keep hammering away at it, eventually he'll just give up. So I feel like I've given up. And the whole, hey, beautiful, okay, whatever.
I have an odd question. Mm-hmm. Why does he call his mother Mother Dear? Like, hello, Mother Dear.
I don't know.
It's so weird.
Good question.
I think it's just a case of his exaggerated affection towards his mum that he just tries to push, and it's not. It's like she said it in one of the calls recently, and she really had to go at him and said, "You don't even spend any time with me, and if you get in trouble again, I'm gonna fucking give you trailer to Roy or something like that."
Yeah.
No, the land. Roy is getting the land now because he's going back to jail.
He sounds so Norman Bates. When he talks to his mother.
Like Lorne
Ouch!
loves his
Another
mother.
blow to Lorne.
Like Lorne,
But it's so hypocritical because he speaks to her like when someone else is listening, he's like, "Oh yeah, I care about my mum so much." Like when someone calls him motherfucker and he flips off, but like flips out. Sorry, and yet I get the impression that he would throw under a bus if someone offered him $50.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I said this before. I think he does this thing about his mother and how much he loves his mother, and how whoever he ends up with is going to be on the same pedestal as his mother and all this other shit. I think he's doing that to impress women. I think he's doing that.
Definitely.
I think he's doing that. You know, the old adage, you know, you can tell how good a husband will be by how they treat his mother.
Yeah.
I don't think it's working for him.
No. I don't think anybody wants to be treated like that. You won't get... Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. I think he just loves his he loves his mother, like in quotation marks, because society tells them to love his mother. Like that's like he saw that ideal on like it's like how his romance is like rom-com romance.
Yeah,
and he has
it really is
like the TV version of loving his mother when clearly he doesn't give a shit.
But isn't that a sociopathic trait to like pick up what you see and then copy it and try and do it to a larger degree?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's like you say, like when the way he speaks to his female counterparts and stuff, it's like, I love you so much. I've never loved anything like you in the world before. I'm like, how can you say things like that to someone you've never met in person?
And 2 days later, he says it to someone else or their daughter. Yeah.
For a second, I thought he said, or their dog.
Or their dog, exactly. I don't know. He's just... And he tries to do what he can to control somebody, to manipulate somebody into loving them. Like with Tiffany, he tried to use guilt. You took me away from Winnie. Now you have an obligation to me now.
Oh, the great one was where I think he thought he found out that like Tiffany was like, I think someone had told him there was a video on the internet, so his feeble brain had started to put 2 and 2 together up and come up with 4.1, and he basically got into a bit of a rage and said to you, Tiff, didn't he, something along the lines of, right, because of you and your stupid ass bullshit, I'm going to have to pay for a lawyer, which means I'm not going to be able to pay Betty because of you. I thought, you fucking piece of... I'm like, that's just typical of how he operates, isn't it?
That's who he is.
As if he was going to pay Betty back to begin with.
Exactly.
As if.
It's like his immediate thought processes isn't like, I've been wronged or anything like that. It's how am I going to use this of my advantage to cover up the terrible person that I've become. And he always has the opportunity, and you always tell him, Tiffany, don't you? You always give him the opportunity to do the right thing and to say the right thing and to go down the right road, but he refuses at every opportunity, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He doesn't want to.
No, he doesn't.
That's why.
Because it's hard. Being good, or not being good is, subjective really, but to try and do the right thing is the harder thing. It's easier to be a dick and to not have integrity and to do stupid things and to get fucking car loans out that you can't afford. And didn't he also have like a contract to do some kind of work on his land, and he wouldn't pay them initially as well?
It was an oil heater or something like that. Yeah, a furnace.
Oh yeah, it was a repair person that was doing some work, and he took several months to pay him back, and all the while he's drinking, he's smoking, he's going to the auction and buying bullshit that he thinks he's going to sell on his front lawn.
Those coins.
Yes.
That poor service worker, man. He deserves combat pay. Walking into that trailer to fix anything, you deserve combat pay.
Right. Yeah. So he just looks for ways to get around his obligations. He doesn't want to do the right thing at all. He's just going to if he was out today he would be drinking, he would be smoking, he would be doing the same things he always has.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way that he's put into the situation where he can't do those things is when it's completely taken away from him. That's it.
Do you
Right.
think, Tiffany, at any point, because I fucking love the I'm a Predator calls, there's 3 of them, isn't there? And where you are trying your so damn best to get through to him. Was there a moment where you thought you'd actually succeeded? You thought, you know what? I think he's starting to get it.
Well, the thing is that the stuff that I was talking to him about, he already knows. He knows what he did. He knows that what he was doing was wrong and sick. And he was doing those things under the pretense that they were never going to be found out. That was the only thing that he was really concerned about. So talking to him and making him acknowledge that what he was doing was predatory behavior and what he was doing was really damaging someone for the rest of their life. I mean, we know that based on people that we can know ourselves in our own lives or for ourselves, know what that type of abuse looks like and what it looks like down the road. And so for him to act like he knows and he understands, he does. He knows exactly what he's doing, but he's not concerned with that. He's more concerned with people not knowing that those are the things that he was interested in.
But you also, like he said, he doesn't want to be that guy. He didn't want to be that guy. And you kind of, I would say that we kind of thought, well, yeah, he doesn't want to be, but would you say it's more accurate for him to say he doesn't want to be seen as being that guy?
Right. Yeah, he doesn't want to be seen as that guy. And Kelpel actually pointed it out too.
That's a better way of putting it.
When he's talking about the deal with the water bottles and how he was taking free water, dumping it down the drain so that he can return the bottles. And it took someone saying to him, hey, why are you just taking the water and dumping it? Why aren't you just giving it away to people who need it, like a homeless shelter, or just not taking it at all? You're just looking to make, I can make 5 cents on that bottle, so cha-ching for me. You know, that he wasn't able to do that on his own. So left to his own devices, he's not going to do what would be morally acceptable. He's going to do what makes him feel better at the time. That's all he cares about.
So it's just selfishness, as you've pointed out to him. It's just that every action that he does. You see, it's the thing when you're
wow, he's stupid.
When you're a kid.
TCAP, I just found that out last week. I can't believe that story. That's unbelievable.
I took me by surprise. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm like, what?
This is the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, that's the first for me.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think that phone call came out, but that sounds so Lorne though.
It does.
He got the water free, right, from his work.
Right.
Yeah.
Complimentary.
Yeah, he's hauling right. His work hauls water basically. So they have, I don't know why they put these pallets out, but they do. It could just be extra inventory or whatever. And so the drivers are able to take some as they want it or whatever. And he takes it so that he can dump it down the drain and cash in the bottles or the cans.
God forbid give Roscoe a fresh thing of water, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And so, when I said to him, hey, why, that's so wasteful. Why don't you just bring it to a homeless shelter or something? There's people that are going to need water, certainly. And then it turned into this great, I feel so good bringing it to them. And here's a picture of all the water in my car. And here's the picture of the sign for the homeless shelter.
That's what he was talking about. When one of the recent phone calls, he said, I've been helping doing charity with the homeless shelter.
Yes.
That's what he was talking about?
Yes.
Oh my God, this guy's a moron.
Big time. But again, this is the same guy that puts his dogs on a treadmill at the same time, though. Why does he do that? Does anyone know why he does that? Why does he think that's smart?
I think he wanted to highlight or showcase his treadmill.
Isn't it just bone eye?
Was the
as well. Like, I don't need to take it for a walk. I'll just whack it on the treadmill.
Right. Well, I'd like to ask you something, Tiffany. Where does he get his copiers, his industrial sized copiers? Is he dumpster diving in some corporate park or something?
No, he goes to an auction house that's local.
Okay.
And so that's where he gets all the garbage that he thinks he can sell. That's
Because
pretty much where it all comes from.
because I've shopped for a few copiers in my time, and typically you lease them, number one, and they come with a service program because that's the most important part,
Right.
and also the toners and all that stuff that come with it. So I don't think he's aware of any of that stuff. But do people actually buy these things from him?
I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Huh.
So I don't know that really anybody's ever bought too much from him. I know that garage selling is a big thing in the area, and that's why he does it. So people, I know the last time they had this 10-yard or 10-mile long yard sale is what they call it. And it's supposed to be just all the way down a strip of road. Every home can put it out, and it's a big event that they have every year. And this past year, basically nobody came. So,
Even that woman who was gawking at him wasn't there? Are you kidding me?
No, apparently it turns out that she was blind, so she couldn't find her way back.
So he turned his head for no reason then. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
She was wearing fucking sunglasses and had a dog. She was gawking at me.
Tango, come here, honey.
He's gawking at me.
Yeah, it's funny as well when you're on the calls with him, Tiff, and every time he goes home, he's like, "Oh, beautiful little doggies, beautiful Sadie, beautiful little girlies,
Handsome little boy,
My
over the
handsome
top."
boy.
With the,
Come here,
Luke,
Goofy.
it's like, listen how good I am to my dogs. I'm such a good master. It's
That's
like,
his
oh,
point,
fuck you, man.
It's
I'm in love with
creepy.
you now. Yeah.
It sounds like he wants to fuck them.
Let's not go down that road. Like him and Michael Wunderler will get together, and can you imagine a three-way chat log between the decoy, Michael Wunderler, and Lorne?
Well, wasn't it a Crazy Trinity as well? Wasn't he the one that
We
wanted
need a
cat
cat for
involved?
that. He needs a cat for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I read.
Oh
that
yeah, he
chat
had the
log.
Cool Whip.
So does
You're
Shin.
naked.
So does Shin.
Marvin, you're naked.
I'm never going to
Shin
do
loves those cuddle parties.
You got some Cool Whip. You got a cat running around.
I'm making a promise to myself I'm not going to do it again.
Can you imagine if you have to make that promise to yourself? You'd be like, I really have it an all-time low, haven't I? I must promise myself not to fuck a cat with whipped cream.
Let's just say that you somehow you were beamed down and you were in a situation where you found yourself naked in the middle of a sting, and Chris came out, and would you just nonchalantly just put a towel on yourself? I'd run into the room, start putting my clothes on. I have no idea why I would just sit there like that. And plus, these guys weren't exactly like being cooperative, putting their towels on either. They were just kind of like flipping, just kind of hanging out there. Chris is going, do this for me, would you? I don't.
Can you imagine John Kennelly's fat white ass running out of that house with the towel he's trying to keep the towel up and it falls off halfway down the road and he's fucking bollocks naked.
Yeah.
The cops are running after him.
When you said beam down, Shin, though, I suddenly thought that's got to be an idea if they ever bring Quantum Leap back. Imagine just leaping into Crazy Trinity if he walks into that.
Oh, Reborn did something. Reborn did that. Reborn did where the guy leaped into a body and he opened the door. He had Lorne's face on him. He goes, "Am I retarded?" Yeah, I don't know if you remember that one.
I didn't see that, but it sounds amazing.
Oh, it was hilarious. It was freaking hilarious. But I wouldn't just sit there and first of all, nobody needs to convince me to put a towel on. Give me a towel. I know you're here. And what am I doing here to begin with? But
I'd like to think most of us wouldn't be naked walking into a stranger's house for the first time.
How much balls is that?
No.
It's a good point, that, because think about it, right? Even if you was on a normal date with a girl and said, come over, someone your own age, you wouldn't walk in naked, but the repercussions of getting caught naked with someone who's underage is like magnified the problems times a million. Why would you really do that?
It's like your intent's pretty clear right now.
Would you like to explain yourself? Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, sir. I love John Kennelly's
My
bit.
clothes fell off.
I unintentionally got naked.
Again.
Where am I? How did I get here?
I am surprised that Lorne didn't just take his clothes off when he came in.
It's the first Mrs. R. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Mrs. Zah.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, he was so used to stripping down for Kayla. I half expected him to start showing Mr. Penis as soon as he came in.
Yeah, I think he's a coward in person, though. I think he's.
She
he's
was
a
the
lot-
more domineering character in
Yeah.
that situation, if you think about it, because he was like he was sat on the couch, she was stood there looking confident, and he was a bit shy. It was kind of an interesting dynamic that was going on there.
Well, because she wasn't the Kayla that he had been writing to.
Didn't matter.
No, actually, it mattered a lot. I mean, Lorne's a predator.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not. He'll chase after children. I've always said I think one of his he's so dangerous is because he would go after any female who is vulnerable. Women who survive domestic violence, women who are very young, women who may be slightly intellectually impaired or disabled. He'll go after any woman he thinks that he can control and bully and dominate. You see it in the phone calls.
Mrs. R, your point is exactly made with who he was after with victim 1 and victim 2. They were both broken girls.
And even Winnie and like characters like that are a bit off the wall. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
He's got to find. The person cannot be all there in order for him to be successful with his grooming.
And when he walked into the house and he encountered Casey, full of Jersey attitude, that was not the person he expected to meet. That was not, what he was expecting. So yeah, he backed right down.
Yeah. Especially when she said, when he asked for a kiss 3 times.
And she's like, no.
Yeah, I want to talk first. Okay, it's cool. But yeah, he's a different person face to face. But I often wonder, again, doing a quantum leap into his body at that point, and I knew what was going on.
What a terrible episode that'd be. Well, actually,
I walked into that house. I would be thinking, shit, I said a lot of shit on that chat log. I hope this girl's gonna let that slide. I'm thinking I should be ashamed of what I said to this girl, and I'm walking in there like nothing's happened. No, not with him. He's looking to build on that shit.
Well, you're a reasonable, stable person. He's not.
Yeah, I know. We're doing the quantum leap thing. That's always fun. But anyway, sick.
So, Mrs. R, do you have like a favourite comedy moment from Lorne? I know it's very difficult to come up with one.
It's very small.
Impossible, but go on.
Is very, very small, and I didn't catch it till after watching his arrest a few times. But when he says that he's talking to Chris Hansen, and he says, it's my birthday, and in a very quiet voice, Lorne just says, today. because he, it's like he had this whole plan. This 13-year-old girl was his present to himself.
Yeah.
And instead, what does he get? National exposure and a jail sentence.
Oh, when he's talking to Chris and he says, do you have kids? And he goes, no, unfortunately. And I bet he's thinking, because I wouldn't have needed to come here if I did.
Yeah, that's always interesting when they do that. All these predators, pride themselves on the fact that they either have kids or love kids or want kids. Like, that's somehow going to help their case. It makes it worse.
Yeah, it's really not.
Yeah, way worse.
Yeah.
Well, because they figure, oh, well, I have kids. Of course, I would never hurt children. But, that's the whole point. They don't think they're hurting the child, which is really the scary kind of disgusting part.
Yeah, some don't realize it and some just don't fucking care, do they?
I think Kennedy's trying to get in here on the live chat. I don't know if you see that.
Yeah, stand by. I'm just trying to sort it out.
Okay. By the way, Tiffany, I got to throw this at you. I'm sorry.
Sure.
I heard, I'll make a deal with you, actually. Okay. I heard your Lorne impression in some of your phone calls, and I would love to hear some of that. Your
I
Lorne,
do not have a Lorne impression.
you have
Absolutely not.
when you mock him back, you're doing a Lorne impression. It's funny. It's so funny.
She has one line in particular that I like, actually.
What is that?
Who the fuck are you talking to?
I can't. I'm really shy.
Face to face.
Yeah, face to face.
I have one impression that I do. It's only a one-word impression, and it's hamburger. So, and I've been working on it hard. So I'll do mine if you do yours.
Well, one of my favorite is when Lorne is really drunk, and you throw something at him like an insult. He gets sort of caught off guard, so he doesn't know what to say. So he'll say, "Oh, really?"
There we go.
Yes.
That's what it was. That's
always
the
a good
one. Oh,
Yeah.
really? All right, here's my hamburger. Ready?
All right.
Here we go.
Fucking unbelievable.
Oh my fucking word.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna, I don't know if this is going to come off well, but we'll try it. This is hamburger. Ready? Yeah. That's all I got. That's all I got.
That's pretty good, dude.
That's it. That's all I got.
So you've been working on that? Is that what you said?
Anyone in this world gave me a hard on.
Oh, jeez.
We should.
I'm past that stage.
I'm past that stage.
Ain't no woman in the world.
Oh.
I love when he says that because like that's the only way that you can molest somebody.
Yeah. I guess I don't understand that. If he's got total ED and whatever his issues are, what was he planning on doing?
Everything else?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that you would know, like, other stuff.
I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't think it was that bad. Oral.
Yeah, John Wesley Elliott.
Yeah, and there's a whole array of things he could have done, but yeah.
If Tiffany was actually catfishing John Wesley Elliott, there's no way that she would not convince him that she was a therapist. She wasn't a therapist. She definitely. Are you a therapist? Everybody's a therapist to him. But
Everyone was a therapist. Yeah.
They should send that guy to an island.
you know, I got to tell you though, that's a great idea. I mean, if you think
They
about
really should.
these guys.
What, Pedo Island?
No,
Yes.
Pedo Island. Yeah. Well, yeah.
There's a documentary about a town in Florida where there's a lot of pedophiles go when they're released.
That.
It is
Sad.
It's a creeptastic. It is a little creeptastic.
And the thing is, in Florida, these municipalities.
Pedo Island.
Sorry.
What happened? It's like a reality show. 100 pedos and one child. Let's see what happens.
Oh my god!
Fucking Fortnite.
Speaking of reality shows, should we talk about our favourite moments from the Lorne reality show, which is the ultimate reality show? Do you remember, Adam, when we did that video when he just like announced his channel was his personal website about merchandise was called Lorne Armstrong Reality.
Oh no!
There was just an angry
when
picture of him drinking that beer bottle.
GoDaddy.com.
GoDaddy site.
He branded himself. He branded himself. Ugh.
He tried anyway.
Yeah.
I loved his graphics, his elementary graphics. The Lorne reality show, all in pastel blue in the back, and produced by, written by, and a special vegan coach friend or whatever the hell he put in there.
He's like Tommy Wiseau, you know. He's a star. He's a director. He's a producer. He does the music.
Who did that? Who did that video on? Was it you, Andrew, that did that video on? Yes, it was. You played that alter ego producer. And
Andreas
Bolito, when I was like doing a DVD commentary on the Lorne show.
You got to post that again, bro.
I can't. It got lost with my old channel, so it wasn't one of the videos that I kept, unfortunately. And what happened was, when my channel went down, for some strange reason, there was another person that was posting my videos on their channel. I don't know. Do you remember, Adam? You told me about it. You was more infuriated than me. You were like, "How fucking dare they rip this channel?" I'm like, I don't give a shit. But they were posting, but it's still, some of them videos were still up there. So what I did was I ripped my own videos off somebody else's channel and then downloaded them onto my computer just so I had them. But they're all edited. They're all fucked up edited. I've still got some of those videos, but it's a bit strange the way they are. But
That was funny.
there was that video that me and you did, Adam.
Andres Belisa, the bastard child of Woody Allen in a northern coal mine.
Oh, you didn't like that, did you?
Sorry.
No, you didn't like that. You were like, shit, that fucking accent's rubbish. I'm like, fucking cheers, dickhead.
It freaked me out.
Yeah.
I didn't say it was rubbish. I said it sounded like half the time you sounded like a northern coal miner, like you do normally.
No,
and the other half the time you sounded like Woody Allen. It was really odd.
No, what you actually said was, a bald person can't make me laugh. I'm turning it off. That's what you did. Like when I asked you to watch that video, that actualized.org, I'm not listening to that bald prick. Oh!
Did I say that?
Like, whoa!
Well, I like my favorite video.
No one with no hair has ever been funny.
Of course, there's nothing wrong with bald people, and Lorne would agree with that. But then again, his agreements are irrelevant.
No, there is. I was only joking. Andy, you were about to say something, and I cut you off. Sorry.
I can't remember what it was. I can't remember.
What about the shaker weight?
Yeah, well, that's another time.
That's up there. I feel like
that was a classic.
We should send him a shaker weight to prison.
I don't think anybody really appreciates just how crazy it is that a sex offender, number one, brought out his own YouTube channel, thought he could sell his own stuff on GoDaddy.com.
Hello.
Then thought he could.
Hello.
Then thought he could start his own.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Kennedy. All right. And then
I'm doing good. How are y'all doing?
Yeah, we're good. We were just talking about the Lorne reality show, yeah. Anyway, nobody fully the shake weight thing was funny, but the fact that he had a channel in the first place and thought he could actually make money out of it it's just staggering.
He eBayed his prison shorts.
Yes.
That sums the whole thing up for me.
He made a duffel bag that looked like it was yellow, but was white at one point in time. Let's not forget that duffel bag.
Was that a duffel bag or a laundry bag? What was that? I think that was a laundry bag.
It was a duffel bag.
Huh.
I call them duffel bags because that's what we call them down here in the South. Anything that you stick clothes into is technically a duffel bag.
There you go.
Didn't it say
Let me know if y'all hear an echo, by the way. Let me know if y'all hear an echo, by the way. Y'all literally got me as I'm walking into my office. Great.
You sound good.
Hey,
you sound good.
Great.
Does anyone remember how much he was trying to charge for his prison shorts?
I think Ember ended up with those.
What about
the
guitar?
Ethan did.
What about the
Yeah,
guitar
they
that he
pulled
tried to sell that was more expensive than a genuine Dolly Parton signed guitar?
Well, he's a country legend, bro.
Are we forgetting about Are we forgetting about the notorious, infamous mixtape? We cannot forget about the mixtape.
That's right. He made that.
He made a mixtape?
Yeah. Some original songs, some cover songs, and some a cappella, some with music, I guess. Somebody was playing music for him. God knows what they sound like.
He never understood the idea of infamy. No, you're not famous, Lorne. You're infamous. That's not a good thing.
Speaking of infamy,
I don't think he still does.
I don't think he can comprehend the difference between famous and infamous.
No, Tiffany, can you explain the Sylvester Stallone and Shania Twain situation?
Of course. So,
since
Lorne was reading the chat log, he has been advised of some comments that were made on the video from Sylvester Stallone, Gordon Ramsay, Shania Twain. I'm trying to think of who else.
Ceylon Rowe or something like that. Ceylon Rowe or
Leah Remini was one.
Leah Remini, absolutely. So he's feeling a lot of support from aimless celebrities. He knows that they go to all the same parties, they all talk. So he's gonna have a good time when he gets all of these letters to the judge. So.
Oh my God! No kidding! No, please.
Wait, he actually believes that shit?
Sylvester Stallone.
No way.
Is gonna write a letter to the judge on Lorne's behalf because he wants him in one of his new movies.
Well,
if anybody's out there playing,
Fucking
don't do it.
Expendables, man.
He wants
That's some
to do
serious shit. Don't do
Is it bad? Yeah. Okay. So I have to interrupt here, but is it bad that I, on the lowest of keys, want to take a picture of some of the food Lorne made and send it to Gordon Ramsay on Twitter?
No, not at all.
No, you should do it.
He takes one look at it and just go, "Fuck me," and just fucking delete the tweet.
But you donkey.
Well, you know how
I don't
Gordon
even
Ramsay.
think he would give me the time of day.
Well, you know how Gordon Ramsay does these remote things where he's in a village of Guinea or something, or he cooks whatever the local food is.
Yeah.
He could do the same thing in Lorne's trailer.
Yeah, they were actually like filming near here for some stuff.
Yeah.
For Gordon Ramsay to do crawfish digging and shit.
Yeah, I mean,
just think, right? He thinks that Sylvester Stallone has somehow took an interest in a sex offender on YouTube. That's his understanding of the celebrity world, and he's like,
my God,
it's genuinely. And he thought, didn't he think that Shania Twain wants to write a song about him?
Slides in the live chat, by the way. He's asking, does anyone know where Lorne is? My people haven't heard back in a couple of weeks.
Imagine all these celebrities.
Awesome. There he is.
Sly, you're gonna have to go on that project without him. You know, you can just pencil him in for the next one.
I mean, I spent years reading case studies and just books all about people who have delusions and get caught up online. I have never ever read anything about anyone even approaching the level of delusion that Lorne has. It's amazing.
All someone has to do is
it's
set
amazing.
up a screen name, and you'd think he'd have some kind of like ability to understand that it's very easy to catfish someone. So all Sylvester Stallone has to do, didn't one of the YouTube accounts as well say the real Shania Twain or something, and that was enough to fool him.
Yeah.
All you've got to do is put the real Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, but doesn't part of you think that he knows some of this stuff isn't real? I mean, you're just playing along with it just to
What a slice
to have company.
I used to think that.
We could totally do
But-
that. We're shooting 10th of September. Let him know.
I don't think he's playing along. I think on some level
No.
he knows that stuff is bullshit, but he's so I swear to you, I spent six years just studying deviant behavior on the internet and cults and I mean I have never it's unbelievable. And I think on the surface level, I think he believes all of it because it's desperately necessary for him to do so. He would lose his identity if he didn't believe this stuff.
He's still a child, isn't he? So he's very immature and doesn't understand how the world works, how people's emotions are. And it's something that you've pointed to, Tiffany, in all your dealings with him, is that you feel sorry for baby Lorne or child Lorne. You don't feel sorry for him now. But in essence, he obviously makes all the wrong decisions, but he is still really a child, isn't it? Because you said in one of the calls, it's all about making baby Lorne feel good.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think
he's
just
arrested.
To point out as well, the reason why he buys into stuff like Sylvester Stallone and Shania Twain is that he believes that he
Not
has.
really Sylvester Stallone?
Well, it
in
is.
the chat?
But I'm just. Of course it is. It says it. It has his picture. But the reason why he's really getting into that is because he believes he had national exposure on the show. And so he has that type of attention where people are going to take notice, including celebrities, and they're going to jump on his cause. That's the reason why.
Well, I got to admit, he did something that I don't think I could do. That's for sure.
Yep.
He's better. He's a better man than me when it comes to that.
Right, Shin, can you we're gonna go on a little bit longer, but could you just explain what your plans are for the 3rd of September for the information that you're comfortable divulging?
Yes, I'm committed at this point. I have somebody flying over here who's a new Lornographer who I infected, and she'll be arriving the day before. We're gonna go up the night before and find a hotel. What I'd like everybody to do. What's that?
Oh, I was talking to my dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure the dog could communicate with us.
He saw something outside that he didn't like.
Little handsome boy. But what I'd like to do is I have my email address out there for anybody who's going to go. I'd like to. Okay, what I did was I checked to see if I can get I went to see if I can get a press pass. I was going to try to pass myself off as a freelance YouTube journalist, and but it turns out that the press access is pretty much the same as the public access, and plus we can't. I was hoping to. Well, I knew I couldn't, but maybe get an interview or two, but it's not going to happen. No cameras are allowed, even on the property itself. So I might end up settling for a small candlelight vigil or maybe a protest. But we'll see. I mean, we got to play it by ear. We got to see what's going on. But I'll be loaded for bear to do some stuff. I'll be bringing some film equipment to see what we can do. So
you
if
need spy
anybody
glasses.
I just bought those. But I can't.
I mean, like the ones with like the camera.
Yeah, with the
That's
camera.
what you need.
I got those. I just got those yesterday. They just came in. I know. I'm going overboard here, but I don't. I would never dare to go into a federal courthouse like that with that. But I'm hoping to catch a perp walk, and I'm also hoping that Lorne gets out next week, and he gets to get so we can actually wait in the parking lot for him to come and get some film of that and his entourage. He was with him. At least that.
The Cornville Mafia?
The Cornville Mafia. Oh, I plan, if Tony's there or something, I plan on trying to approach him and ask him some questions. So I'm going to do some kamikaze journalism while I'm there. And anybody who's there, we could do a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, obviously, we'll keep it legal within our First Amendment rights. But I think we can get some good footage. And
if y'all ever want to come down to Nashville, let me know.
Are you there now?
I am not driving all the way to Maine.
Okay.
But I will meet y'all in Nashville.
Well, if
I actually know where Lorne used to live. So
isn't that place razed to the ground now? Didn't they just destroy that apartment complex that he used to live?
Yeah, they basically destroyed it and rebuilt it, but it's kind of the same exact layout.
They should have kept that up as a historical landmark or something. But anyway.
Oh, I know it.
It was full of roaches and bed bugs, and the ceiling was literally falling in.
Ew.
I read the reviews. The bed bugs are enormous. Yeah.
Yeah, the ceiling falling in was kind of the nail on the coffin for the place.
He's got that issue in his trailer now too, or something. But if anybody's going to go, please, again, we got a couple of weeks. I don't expect anybody to commit this early, but as the time approaches, just kind of let me know. I'll try to, make arrangements or do something to help people out. Also, if people have transportation issues, we'll try to buddy people up. But if it's just me, that's fine too. But it would be great to see some of you, especially you, TCAP. You're in Maine. So you got to go.
Yeah, dude, I'm like a couple hours south. I'm about to try like hell, brother. I'm about to try like hell.
That'd be great. And also, I think Amanda James.
Amanda James.
Well, the real one. Well, actually, there isn't a real Amanda James, is there? What's her name? Well, we're not allowed to say.
She'll be adorned in a bunch of
jailer.
Exactly. NASCAR.
Dressed up as a NASCAR driver. Hey, Lord, remember me?
The same shit he sent.
Tango, come here, honey. Tango.
But I can only visualize right now, so I can't make any promise about what's going on. I'm trying to research the area. I'm trying to figure out where it can be. I know there's protests where you can set up, so I'm thinking about putting together some placards and some signs and stuff, and just to support them,
But come on, Shin. Why don't you tell us what you're really doing there?
But what I can do, and again, I can do might be able to do a live stream from a remote from the location. We'll see. Andrew, you and I will talk about that. But I want to report the immediate news as soon as it comes out. What his sentence is going to be, and I guess he's hoping for 6 months, 6 to 12 months. But I don't know. I'll do everything I can short of getting arrested.
I mean, I think we should try and amend the Constitution so we can get filming inside the.
Well, that's a federal court rule. You could do it in state courts. It would be great if he was brought in for.
There's got to be something we could do. What about if we get him tried in England? No one cares over here.
Yeah, well, we can send him over there. You can have him. You guys can have him. You can report him.
I'm not looking after him personally.
So, yeah. So again,
okay. So can one of y'all answer me this? I've heard 3 years and I've heard 5 years. What is the longest consecutive sentence Lorne could be serving? Because I heard it was half of his old sentence.
No, it's according to the probation revocation petition, they're looking for 3 years.
They're looking for 3. Okay, I heard it was 5 because it was he served half of his sentence.
Yeah, that was my understanding, and again, we got to go back and look at that. We'll probably do that before I go, but yeah, if he had 5 years hanging over his head, and again, we already know probation is looking for it. They're not looking for 5 anyway; they're looking for 3. So that'll come off as suspended sentence, and then he'll have 2 hanging over his head. But yeah, I mean, I just
don't see why they don't make him serve 5 consecutive years. Because they know 9 times out of 10 he's gonna just go back and reoffend.
Yeah, and that's why I think he's going to get 3. I think they've done everything they can to get him under control, and he has basically sealed up in rape class. He hasn't done anything. And Tiffany, as a matter of fact, didn't you go over one of his assignments where he talked about the internet being? They asked him, "What would you do?"
Fucking hate the internet.
It was a written assignment, wasn't it, Tiffany? Something about the question being, what can you do to prevent yourself from reoffending?
Yeah, and that was exactly the question.
Could you tell everybody what he responded?
His response was basically just talking about the internet and how there's people on there that aren't who they say they are and they want things from you, things like that. So he had nothing. It had nothing to do with answering the question of what he would need to not reoffend again.
So he's wondering why he's failing rape class. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's just one example. All of his questions are going to be like that.
Did he ever go in and admit to his real victims like you told him to?
I don't really believe that he did. I think that it sounds to me like in the therapy class, he doesn't really talk very much. So I think he just keeps to himself. I think if he's called upon to read his assignment, then he does. But he's not one to divulge information. And he could have started to talk about it or started to mention something, and his counselor told him to put it all in his writing for his assignment. So it's really hard to say exactly what the conversation would have been because we're getting it from Lorne, who has this crazy filter in how he deciphers information. So there's really no way to know if he really said anything, but I highly doubt that he did.
Yeah. Well, that's
Tiffany. Tiffany, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you something, since you've dealt with Lorne on a more personal level than probably most of us in this chat? Do you think Lorne might have like an underlying learning disability that nobody's like ever treated him for? Like, I don't want to say he's on the spectrum, but like some of the stuff he says just comes off weird and crazy.
You mean like autism?
Yeah, I don't. I'm not qualified to talk about learning disabilities.
I've always wondered that myself.
I have no idea about that.
I mean, like, personally to you, it just, some of the stuff he said has just come off to me as like my I'm obviously not as qualified as most people. My mother's a special ed teacher, so I kind of get the brunt of what she knows. But like some of the stuff he says just comes off to me like he doesn't understand things.
Or doesn't listen, actually. Sometimes.
Well, I think,
or
I
doesn't
think that's
care to listen.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing is that he doesn't listen, and he's very much he very much wants to believe certain things, and so he'll manipulate information in his mind in order to do that. I don't think that he's quote unquote stupid. I think that he's dumb, which to me is a little bit different. I think he's very gullible and naive when it comes to certain things. A lot of stuff, obviously, if you were to think Sylvester Stallone posted to my video and says that he wants to work with me. Anybody would have to question that and say, that can't be real, and you would do a lot of digging in order to do that. But for him, number one, he's not able to, but number two, he really does believe that he has this notoriety, that people are going to be aware of him. So, and if you think about all of the scheming that he has done to get out of things, in particular with Betty, he was able to get away with that essentially. And then also when it comes to Kayla and his other victims, he knew exactly what to do in order to avoid things, even though it didn't work out. Obviously, there was a sting.
That's true. That's a great point.
Yeah. So, I mean, I do think that he's extremely naive. He's very, very immature. So I think socially he is stunted back to the high school years. So he doesn't have the relationship experience that most people will have, and that he knows what loving relationships are, what friendships are. It's all about, he has kind of this list of requirements of what it takes to be someone's girlfriend. So they do things for you, like call you and wake you up in the morning. They, look out for you and make sure that everything is great.
It's almost like he wants another mother in those situations, though. Like somebody to wake him up in the mornings and make him breakfast and things like that. Like it almost seems like I've had boyfriends like this, like they are looking for a mom outside of their own mother.
Right. And so that's I think what he's looking for, because that's the only reference of a loving relationship that he has. And so he's, he doesn't have that type of experience where people grow up and you start, in high school and you have these crushes and boyfriends. But certainly the relationships change as you get older. He never got to that point.
Therefore, virgin? I agree with you.
Let's not go there.
I agree with
that will be
that's the great TCAP debate. I say there's no way on God's green earth even a drunk 18-year-old would let Lorne Armstrong put his dick in her. There's no way. I've been drunk. I have been so drunk I didn't know.
We don't want to know
anything.
What you're gonna
I didn't
say
know
next,
my
Kennedy.
name.
But
I know if I saw a guy like Lorne Armstrong trying to hit on me, I would run.
I'm glad
to hear that. You couldn't be drunk enough, Kennedy. You could not be drunk enough in order to let that happen. I mean,
I could not physically be drunk enough to let that near me.
I'm going to say something sexist here, except for with the exception of Kennedy here. I don't think any woman has a valid opinion about a man's virginity or not. I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. Number one, I don't think a woman has any idea how hard it is for a guy to get laid. Number one. Number two, for a woman to opine about a guy's virginity or not is the same thing as a guy talking about what a woman goes through in childbirth and PMS and things. We don't have any reference for that. You guys don't either. So, I take what women say, except for you, Kennedy, in that situation with kind of a grain of salt. It is really hard, because if you were one of those last call girls who were sitting at the bar, hardly sober, and your friends had left you, and you were there alone to all the predators, to all the men left, there'd probably be about 5 or 10 who might be coming after you, and one of them may be Lorne, and you're not going to pick him out of the litter. Unless Lorne's alone with somebody in a situation. And again, considering Lorne's standards, it has to be a very attractive woman in order for him to do this. So I'm glad that we finally have settled that argument that he's a virgin. So thank you.
I'd probably sleep with Lorne just to say
I'm
I
just-
have.
What's that?
You'd fucking.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you need lots of therapy.
I mean, there's just not enough alcohol. I don't think
No.
I could get drunk enough.
Or you'd have.
I wouldn't be able to perform for Lord. I'd be so soft and unhorny.
Yeah. You'd have to be unconscious. I think for him to.
I don't even think a form of unconscious. I think you would have to like put me in a medically induced coma.
Yes. Or
I think he might get into trouble if that was to happen. If you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
Another blow to Lorne.
Another blow to Lorne.
But here's the thing. He broke down. I mean, Tiffany broke him down, and he admitted he never had a relationship. He admitted that, and he only had one night stands. Okay, he was a man slut or man whore, however he defines himself. But then he starts talking about his one night stands, and the one we know about is the one that happened 2 days before the sting. That's when he said he slept with some woman. But if you look at the date of that sting, they didn't stop talking until well after midnight. So he's lying there.
Yeah, that's way too convenient. Like 2 days before.
Yeah, he's lying there. And who the hell buys a 14-pack of condoms anyway? What the hell?
A virgin.
Exactly.
Tiffany, I noticed.
Yeah, I'm just like. I mean, back when I lived alone and I was single, you just buy the biggest thing you can to shove in a drawer somewhere just in case. But 14-pack ain't happening.
But they were like a variety pack. Weren't they like different, like one's ribbed and one's not, and one's yellow and one's chocolate flavor and one's, it was like a whole different kinds of different experiences, I guess you can get from
I'm going to say this, and I'm going to quote Gigi on this. You know who doesn't or who uses or who doesn't use chocolate flavored condoms? The people who fucking buy chocolate flavored condoms. I am just saying.
Yes.
Tiffany, have I broken you down yet?
No.
Okay, that's good. That's good. You just hang in there. You just are good. I need a devil's advocate. This is good.
Right,
But
guys, it's getting quite late where I am, and we've been going for longer than I've ever done a video, but we could go on for hours. What we'll do, these are quite enjoyable. I'm just trying to get people on who've not really been mostly, in many videos before, so we'll continue that next time. It's kind of an interesting time, isn't it, at the minute, because he's in prison. We don't know what's going to happen. There's more. If you think about, like we were talking about, the golden age, I suppose from one aspect you could say it is, because there's more content now than there's ever been. Some people like some of it, and most of it is, it's really enjoyable just to listen to the guy. But who knows where we're going to be in 12 months? Is he going to be coming out in a rage, suing all of us? Is he going to put any hits on all of us from prison?
I hope so.
Crazy
Please.
lawsuit.
I just hope that Lord doesn't try to copyright strike
If I
me.
get sued by Lorne Armstrong, I'm going to put this out here, right now. If I get sued by Lorne Armstrong, I am taking the piece of paper, that they have to give you, like when you're getting sued, like, the affidavit, and framing it and hanging it on my wall.
Don't even respond to it. Exactly. Oh,
I won't even respond to it. I'm just framing it and hanging it on my wall. And like every single time somebody asks why, it's up there. I'm going to be like, well, let me just tell you.
I think he's done with the civil suits. I think he's done.
I don't know if he has enough money to be like,
I think
even doing what he's trying to do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Lorne's got enough on his plate without suing the Lornographers individually. I think.
Can you imagine what that complaint will look like? Lorne Armstrong versus Shin's Koala. Your name would be the only one. Punk Pansy
versus TCAP recipes versus
John Doe,
TCAP
Jane Doe.
Oh, I see it happening.
Clobbering time versus the first Mrs. That'd just be so funny.
Lorne Armstrong versus a wrinkle with worry.
Lorne
Encourage him.
Armstrong versus OK Sing to Me. Lorne Armstrong versus Sylvester Stallone. Lorne Armstrong versus Bunky Jones.
Lord Armstrong versus Roscoe Armstrong.
Lorne Armstrong versus Sadie Armstrong. Lorne Armstrong versus conscious type person.
Lord Armstrong versus
Taylor
Tender's World.
Marie Moore.
Lorne Armstrong versus Lorne 20014. Lorne Armstrong.
This is the kind of defense where you can just play your content for the jury, and that's all I have. And they'll laugh.
Yeah,
And
that like just it would be the easiest lawsuit to win ever.
Problem is, if it comes to my name, they might actually think, shit, we've got a real person here. We best go after him. Like,
yeah, but you're out of the jurisdiction. You're fine.
Yeah. The thing is, my name is my actual name. So, like, when it comes lawsuit time for me, it'd probably be, like, Kennedy Roper Wood dash McNabb.
Yeah.
Yeah, just use
which
one
would
of
be
your false
great,
names, it'll be
because
fine.
that's my actual fucking name.
Right, any guys?
Just abbreviate it.
Yeah, guys who are here, thank you so much for everybody who's joined. I wish it could have gone on longer, but with the time differences like over here, usually the last Lorne Radio, I don't think there's anybody participating, mainly from the UK. So I think the first Mrs. R accidentally dropped out of the chat. She didn't bail on us. Adam had to leave. So everybody that's been in the chat, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us on.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you,
Kennedy.
Precious.
And Patrick, thanks for joining us, mate.
Thank you, sir.
And Mr. TCAP Recipes, thank you very much, sir. It's always a pleasure.
It's been fun.
We'll do it again soon if you're up for it.
Yeah, definitely.
And Tiffany, thank you yet again for joining us. It's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
And Andrew, oh no, that's me. Right, okay. So yeah, Shin's Koala, thank you very much, sir. And I'm
Feel free to
sure...
email me.
Yeah, guys. Shin, do you want to have you put your email in the chat, and then people
I'm gonna
can
do it right
contact you
now.
about the court.
Yeah, I'm doing it right now. So, yeah, let's have some fun.
You were saying you was gonna have placards with you, never meant to do it.
I'm going to have a placard that says, get probation out of our lives. I'm going to have another one that
Messed
says,
up at the time.
he was raised by his mom.
Can we get one that says he just came to get something to eat?
Just came to get something to
Is
eat.
Kennelly going on trial as well?
Are you anxious to see my sentence?
Yes.
Sorry, it's endless.
Here we go. I got it out there, guys.
I'm going to get one that says, this has got to stop.
You got to stop.
I want to get one that says, get the doctor out of our lives, or get the probation officer out of our lives.
Get the probation department out of our lives. Here's what I'm hoping. I know we got to go, but I'm hoping that he does get out and that he does come in through the civilian entrance like we all do, and he goes by our protests. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping to see the
I
signs.
want Louis Theroux to do a documentary on this and he's filming it outside where you're all there with the placards. And another one we could have is like, don't sentence him, he's sensitive. Do you remember when he was trying to flog t-shirts with don't yell at me, I'm sensitive? Because he couldn't legally, he couldn't have his own quotes on his own merchandise because it was from a sex offender.
And CT has taken over his lives by taking all those, trademarking all those quotes. And now he's making bank off of Lorne.
He's gonna enrage at clobbering time. He really is. But right, anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody in the chat, I really hope you've enjoyed it. It's not easy to arrange these because of the time and that because of the time differences. But I'm so glad for everybody that's come.
CT. Sorry, CT came late.
Yeah, yeah, I think he's friends with Sylvester Stallone as well, if you get what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, him and Sly are like really close. So, and I want to thank Mr. Stallone for joining us. It's been I've always idolised Sylvester Stallone, just like I do with my siblings. But there you go.
Big fan of the Rambo series, Sly.
Another blow to Lorne. So,
I'm actually looking at TCAP. I'm looking forward to that movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I believe Lorne's having a cameo.
It's gonna be
in
awesome.
3, so I don't
We're
know
gonna see
what
Lord in that. It's gonna be awesome.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I never meant to do it. God.
You're gonna be flying stunts.
Hopefully,
Are you anxious to see my
soon,
gun?
Hopefully soon, since Chris Hansen stopped nuking channels for posting TCAP content. Most of our
Yeah, that
stuff
fucker
can
almost
be
got me deleted.
backed up. And,
Really?
You deleted them.
yeah, I unlisted everything. Like as soon as I saw what was going on, I unlisted almost all of my videos just to lay low. And have slowly been making them public again.
Wise decision. Right.
Chris
Anyway,
did too.
That's a good idea for another stream.
oh
Andrew.
yeah, we've got loads.
Oh God, I have so much shit to talk about that.
Oh yeah, count me in.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome.
Yeah. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll be doing another stream next week. I don't know what it'll be about, but we've got loads of stuff to talk about, and hopefully you guys will join us. So what we may have to do with regard to this stream, it may not be available for various reasons. If anybody wants to see it afterwards, get in contact with me and I'll send you the link. But until then, guys, we'll speak to you